Hi, welcome. Today we delve into the fascinating world of narrative ethics, especially exploring deontology, a moral theory that emphasizes duty and rules, unlike consequentialist frameworks that focuses on outcomes. Deontology centers the inherent rightness and wrongness of an action themselves. This video will unpack its core principles, explore prominent figures, and examine its strengths and weaknesses with real-world examples. Deontology is from the Greek words deon, which means duty, and logos means study, argues that morality isn't about consequences, but about adhering moral principles or duties. Actions are judged as right or wrong based on whether they conform to these rules regardless to their outcomes. This sharply from utilitarianisms, which prioritize maximizing overall happiness. A key figure of deontological ethics is Immanuel Kant, who formulated categorical imperative, a command that applies universally irrespective of personal desires and consequences. He argued that we should act only according to the principles we could wish to be universal laws.
Deontology is an ethical theory that focuses on the morality of actions based on rules or duties rather than the consequences themselves. Immanuel Kant, a central figure in deontologist ethics, argued that actions are morally right if they are done out of duty and adhere to the universal moral law. This means that certain actions are intrinsically right or wrong, regardless of their outcomes. For example, telling the truth is considered a duty, even if lying could produce better results. Deontological ethics emphasizes principles like honesty, fairness, and respect for individuals, asserting that we must follow these moral rules consistently. This approach challenges us to act according to our duties and principles, ensuring that our actions are morally sound in themselves, not just because of the benefits they might bring. While deontology can sometimes lead to rigid and conflicting duties, it provides a clear framework for evaluating the ethical integrity of our actions.
And deontology, the categorical imperative, is a central concept formulated by Immanuel Kant. It's a moral principle that dictates how we ought to act, regardless of our desires or the potential consequences. Regardless of our desires or the potential consequences, unlike consequentialist theories, which judge actions based on their outcomes. Deontology emphasizes duty and adherence to moral rules. The categorical imperative is not a single rule, but rather a set of principles intended to guide moral decision making Kant presented several formulations, but the most well-known are
the formula of universal law. Act only according to the maxim verbally you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. This means that before acting, consider whether the principle maxim behind your action could rationally be adopted by everyone. If universalizing the maxim leads to a contradiction or makes the action impossible, then the action is moral wrong.
Ilan to nagasto nimo? Ilan to? Mahal pa rin, 500. Ito, mahal na. Tapos sa katong Shopee, ilan to? Sinto. Ta, ngay jam. Ano ba sila to? Mahal-mahal nito ko ah. In Kant's categorical imperative, the concept of end itself is central to the formula of humanity. One of the formulations of categorical imperative. It states that we should treat humanity whenever in our own person or in the person of any other, never merely as a means, but always at the same time an end. This means that if a human being possesses inherent worth and dignity, we should not use people purely as tools to achieve our own goals.
treat them merely as a means, but rather recognize their intrinsic value and act in ways that respect their autonomy and rationality. Treating them as an end in themselves, this implies that we should have moral obligation to consider the well-being and rights of others, not just our own desires. The focus is on the inherent worth and dignity of every rational being, not to the consequence of our actions.